Alright, let's dive into English adverbs of frequency. Have you ever stopped and think of how often you use adverbs of frequency in English? Today I'm going to show you the key to fluency by mastering these little words. Stick around and unlock the secrets. First things first, let's talk about what adverbs of frequency are and why they are crucial for your journey to English proficiency. These adverbs like sometimes, always, or often give us information about how frequently an action is being done. Understanding and using them correctly can make a huge difference in your language skills. Now, here is where many learners face a challenge in adverbs of frequency. It is common to struggle with knowing where to place adverbs of frequency, but fret not, I am here to break it down for you. Let's explore the different types of adverbs of frequency and see them in action with some examples. Remember, practice makes perfect. The climax moment. Are you ready for the fun tip to help you remember the order of adverbs of frequency in the sentence? Here it is. Subject, verb, adverb. Subject, verb, adverb. Simple, right? This mnemonic can be your handy tool to help you ensure that you are using adverbs of frequency correctly whenever you're speaking or writing English. We use adverbs of frequency to say how often we do things. And the most common frequency adverbs in English are always, frequently, usually, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, never. And if you look at the screen, you realize that we have the different percentage, because since we are talking about how often something happens, we have the different percentage. Like always, if you say always, if you use the word always, it means it's something that you do 100%, or something that you do all the time, 100% of the time you do that thing. Frequently is talking about 90%. 90%, something that you do 90%, not all the time, not always. You frequently do something. Usually is 80%. Usually should be about 80%. Often, when you use often, means it's something that you do about 70% of your time you use in doing that thing. Sometimes is about 50%, something that you do not all the time, you do it sometimes, that's about 50%. Occasionally, occasionally means you do these things about 40% of your time. You use about 40% of your time to do these things. Seldom. I seldom go to the market. I seldom go to the cinema. Seldom means you do it just about 20% of your time. Use just about 20% of your time. Rarely means just 10%. I rarely go to the cinema. Means probably in 1 month I go just once, or in 1 year I go just once. I rarely go to the cinema. And never is 0%. Never. I never go to the cinema. I never go to the market. I never go to wheresoever you want to go. So that is how we use, if you have this in mind, it's going to help you to understand how to use adverbs of frequency. And the next that we'll see here is the adverbs of frequency answer the typical questions starting with how often, how frequently. So they'll always ask you a question: how often do you go to the market? How often do you go to school? Or how frequently? So whenever you hear these questions, know that you are expected to answer using adverbs of frequency. For example, how often do you brush your teeth? How often do you brush your teeth? I always brush my teeth. I always brush my teeth means you brush your teeth 100% of your time. Means every day you brush your teeth. And question number 2, How often does your mother cook? How often does your mother cook? She rarely cooks. She rarely cooks. Means she doesn't cook most of the time. Probably she lives in buying ready-made food. So, how often does your mother cook? She rarely cooks. Question number 3. How often is Claudio late for class? How often is Claudio late for class? He is never late for class. He is never. Means he always early in class. He's a very punctual student and a very good student. He's always early in class. And the next slide we have the position of these adverbs is, this is the most confusing part because they don't know where to position adverbs of frequency. Most people, this is a great challenge that most people go through. They don't know when or how or where to position adverbs of frequency. So the first thing is that adverbs of frequency go before all main verbs. They come before the main verbs, and they also come after verb to be. Remember, when we talk about verb to be, we have am, is, are. So adverbs of frequency come after am, is, are, but they come before the main verbs. For example, she is often late for class. This is verb to be. She is often late for class. They are always late for class. They are always late for class. So you realize that adverbs of frequency comes after verb to be, is, and are. But if you look at the other examples, it says she usually cooks. She usually cooks. They usually cook, or they sometimes cook. Now you realize that cook is the main verb. So adverbs of frequency comes before the main verb, which is cook, but they come after verb to be, which is or are. Okay, so that is the first position of adverbs of frequency. The second thing you need to take note of is with don't and doesn't, we use the adverb of frequency after this and before the verb. For example, we don't usually travel. This is negative. We don't usually travel. She doesn't usually travel. So you cannot say she usually don't travel, or we usually don't travel, or she usually doesn't travel. No, it doesn't go like that. It must come after the negative, after don't or after doesn't. Okay, so take note of this position, very important. The third thing you should take note of is the verb of frequency or the adverb of frequency. Sometimes, often, usually can go at the beginning of sentences, or sometimes they are put at the end, not before main verbs. Example, sometimes we study English. Sometimes we study English. Sometimes we study English. Or we study English usually. We study English usually. So this position can also go in adverbs of frequency. And when we are talking about adverbs of frequency, it is very important for us to look at the time expressions. It is very important for us to look at the time expressions. For example, every day. Every day means Monday to Sunday. Every day. Monday to Sunday. Every plus day. Every Thursday. For example, you can say, I go to the market every Saturday. So you have every plus day. So every day is different from every Thursday. Every day means from Monday to Friday. Every day you go to school, or every day you go to work. But every Thursday or every Monday or every Tuesday, every plus day is talking about a particular day. For example, every Tuesday. And 1 plus day plus S, we have on Thursdays. On plus day plus S. On Thursdays. When you say on Thursdays, when you add S to the day, it means that it's every Thursday or every week. I go to the market on Thursdays. I go to church on Sundays. Sundays here, it means that every Sunday I go to church. Okay, and we also have once a month. So the expression once a month means that one time in a month. I go to the cinema once a month. I go to the shopping mall once a month. Means I go to the shopping mall one time in 1 month. Twice a month. Twice a month here means 2 times in a month. Once is 1. Twice is 2. 3 times a month means 3 times in a month. 3 times a month. So you don't need to say 3 times in a month. You can just say I go to the market 3 times a month. That's okay, and that is understood. And we also have once a week. Once a week. Once a week means 1 time in a week. Twice a week means 2 times in a week. 3 times a week, or thrice a week. Thrice means 3 times in a week. Okay, so this is just a little thing that we need to know about adverbs of frequency, how they are being used, position that we use them in the sentence. And now we are going to look at a lot of exercises. Let's try to practice what we have just learned. For example, practice number 1, it says rewrite each sentence with the adverb of frequency in the parentheses in its correct position. For example, I play tennis on Sundays. Often is in bracket. Answer, I often play tennis on Sundays. We are in contact with my sister. We are in contact with my sister. So how are you going to put this? The answer would be, we are often in contact with my sister. We are often in contact with my sister. We are often in contact with my sister. Remember, I told you that, remember we said adverbs of frequency comes after verb to be. That is why we have, we are often in contact with my sister. The second one says, Peter doesn't get up before 7, usually. Where do we put, what is the position of usually? Peter doesn't get up before 7. Yes, I guess you got the answer right. So the answer should be, Peter doesn't usually get up before 7. Peter doesn't usually get up before 7. Remember, we have doesn't, which is negative. So Peter doesn't usually get up before 7. Number 4, they go swimming in the lake. They go swimming in the lake. They go swimming in the lake. They sometimes go swimming in the lake. They sometimes go swimming in the lake. Remember, we said adverbs of frequency should come before main verb. They sometimes go swimming in the lake. And number 5, the weather is bad in November. The weather is bad in November. The weather is always bad in November. The weather is always bad in November. Number 6, Peggy and Frank are late. Peggy and Frank are late. Peggy and Frank are usually late. Peggy and Frank are usually late. Number 7, I have met him before. I have met him before. The correct answer is, I have never met him before. I have never met him before. And number 8, John watches TV. John watches TV. The correct answer should be watches TV. John seldom watches TV. John seldom watches TV. Remember, you must put ES because it is the past. Okay, and the next one we have here is practice number 2. Rewrite the complete sentences using the adverb in brackets in its correct position. Rewrite the complete sentences using the adverbs in brackets in its correct position. For example, he listens to the radio. He listens to the radio. He listens to the radio. He often listens to the radio. Example 2, they read a book. They read a book. They sometimes read a book. 3, Pete gets angry. Pete never gets angry. Number 4, Tom is very friendly. Tom is very friendly. Tom is usually very friendly. Tom is usually very friendly. Number 5, I take sugar in my coffee. I take sugar in my coffee. Correct answer, I sometimes take sugar in my coffee. I sometimes take sugar in my coffee. In conclusion, we have covered the basics of adverbs of frequency today. By mastering this adverbs of frequency, it can help you improve your fluency in English, and your communication skills will also be improved. So keep practicing and incorporating them into your everyday conversation. the results will be remarkable. Now it's your turn to take action. Make sure you practice adverbs of frequency every day. Practice it individually and let me know what you think about this lesson in the comments below. Share your experiences as you practice these adverbs of frequency and stay tuned for more videos. Please, if you found this video interesting or if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and click on the bell so that you always be notified. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned till my next video.